The Paradigm Shift, Reprogramming the Subconscious Mind for Success, produced by the School of Self-Development. Introduction. There's a silent force controlling every result in your life. It shapes your decisions, dictates your habits, and silently pulls the strings behind your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And most people live their entire lives without even knowing it's there. This force is called a paradigm. A paradigm is not just a single belief. It's a network, a deeply ingrained system of beliefs, patterns, habits, and emotional responses, all stored in your subconscious mind. It's the reason why some people effortlessly attract success, while others work themselves to exhaustion and still feel stuck. It's why you might set a goal, get excited, take a few steps forward, and then suddenly find yourself right back where you started. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're broken. It's the paradigm, doing exactly what it was programmed to do. Maintain the familiar. You see, your subconscious mind doesn't care what you want. It only cares what's familiar. And your paradigm is the gatekeeper of that familiarity. It's the internal thermostat that keeps your results locked at a certain level, no matter how much effort you apply, no matter how much motivation you feel. Bob Proctor once said, "You can't change your life until you change your paradigm." And that's the purpose of this audiobook. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about surface-level change. This is about going deep, to the root, to the programming that was installed in your mind long before you knew you had a choice. If you've ever wondered why your life seems stuck on repeat, if you felt frustrated by how hard it is to break bad habits, if you felt like success is always just out of reach, no matter what you do, then this audiobook is for you. We are going to walk through what a paradigm truly is, how it's formed, how it keeps you locked in old patterns, and most importantly, how to break free. You'll discover how to reprogram your subconscious mind, raise your level of awareness, and align your internal world with the success, wealth, health, and fulfillment you desire. This is not theory. This is transformation. And you don't need anything outside of yourself to begin. You have everything you need right now to shift your paradigm and rewrite the course of your life. But you must understand this. You cannot escape a prison if you don't know you're in one. This audiobook will show you the walls, and it will show you the door. So if you're ready to stop living by default, if you're ready to stop repeating the same story, if you're ready to rewrite your program and reclaim your power, then turn the page, press play, and lean in, because your paradigm shift starts now. Chapter 1. The Invisible Blueprint, Controlling Your Life. Every result in your life, from the amount of money in your bank account to the way you react under pressure, stems from one place, your subconscious mind. And embedded within that mind is something most people never even question. It's called a paradigm. This is not just another word for habit. A paradigm is far more powerful. It is the mental operating system that dictates your behavior, often without your awareness. Think of it like software. You might want to run a new app, like wealth, confidence, or success. But if your software is outdated, the new program won't run. It will crash every time. You'll try to earn more, but somehow spend more. You'll try to lose weight, but snap back into old habits. You'll start a business, but second-guess yourself at every step. That's not a lack of intelligence. It's not a lack of ambition. It's the paradigm at work, running the show from behind the scenes. The paradigm is formed early in life, mostly before you turn 7. That's when the subconscious mind is wide open, absorbing everything from parents, teachers, culture, and environment. You didn't consciously choose most of your beliefs. You inherited them. If your parents struggled with money, that became part of your mental blueprint. If you were told, "You're not good enough," or "You'll never make it," those messages didn't just bounce off. They got planted. Over time, these beliefs became subconscious programs, shaping how you see the world and how you see yourself. And here's the most important part. Your paradigm controls your actions. Your actions control your results. So if you're not getting the results you want, it's not because you're lazy or broken. It's because the program hasn't been updated. And most people go their entire lives without ever updating that internal software. They blame the economy. They blame their job. They blame their luck. But they never look inward at the paradigm, the real culprit. Now, let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what are the consistent results in my life? Are you always just getting by financially? Do you always attract the same type of relationships? Do you sabotage progress every time things start going well? If so, you're not alone. You're just operating from an outdated paradigm. But here's the exciting truth. Paradigms can be changed. You're not stuck. You're programmed. And programming can be rewritten. Just like a computer can have new code installed, your mind can be reprogrammed to align with new beliefs, new behaviors, and new results. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by accident. But it does happen when you understand the mechanism and then use it. In this chapter, we've uncovered the foundation of transformation, the realization that the invisible blueprint, not external circumstances, is what creates your reality. This is the beginning of awareness. And awareness is the first step in every paradigm shift, because once you can see the program, you no longer have to live by it. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into how paradigms are created and how yours was shaped by years of repetition, belief, and emotional experience. Once you understand how it was built, you'll understand exactly how to tear it down and build a new one. Chapter 2. How your paradigm was programmed. You weren't born afraid of success. You weren't born believing you had to struggle to earn a living. And you certainly weren't born with doubts about your worth, your intelligence, or your ability to create a beautiful life. All of those ideas were learned. They were absorbed. They were programmed. To truly shift your paradigm, you must first understand where it came from, because what was once installed without your permission can now be overwritten with your intention. So how did your current paradigm come to be? The answer begins in your early childhood. The absorbing mind of a child. From birth until about the age of 7, your brain operates mostly in what's called the theta frequency, a slow, hypnotic brainwave state. In this state, your conscious mind, the logical, reasoning part of your brain, is not yet fully developed. This means that everything you experience during those early years is taken in without analysis, without questioning, and without filters. You watch how your parents deal with money. You listen to how they talk about rich people. You feel the emotional energy in your home, joy, fear, scarcity, stress. And all of it gets stored. Not in your conscious memory necessarily, but in your subconscious mind. It becomes part of your paradigm. If your household was filled with struggle, financial anxiety, or limiting beliefs, you didn't just notice those things. You absorbed them. They became your truth, your identity, your lens for how the world works. You accepted those patterns as normal, not because they were true, but because they were familiar. Repetition is the mother of all programming. While childhood is the foundation, repetition is the tool that reinforces a paradigm, for better or worse. Let's say you heard things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Rich people are greedy. You have to work hard for every penny." If those ideas were repeated with emotion, especially during formative experiences, they etched themselves into your subconscious mind like grooves in a record. The more often you heard it, felt it, or saw it, the deeper it got embedded. And over time, these beliefs weren't just thoughts. They became truths for you. They became the automatic software your subconscious mind would use to make decisions, to set boundaries, to accept or reject opportunities. And this is key. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined, only what is repeated with emotion. So the emotional energy tied to repeated experiences creates powerful imprints in your paradigm: trauma, embarrassment, rejection, or on the other hand, love, encouragement, praise. These moments don't just stay in the past. They influence who you are right now. Environment is programming. Think about the people you grew up around. Were they thriving or just surviving? Did they speak life into your dreams or remind you of your limits? Did they model self-belief or self-doubt? Environment is a massive part of how a paradigm is formed. If you were raised in scarcity, you likely absorbed a scarcity paradigm. If you were surrounded by fear, you probably internalized a fear-based paradigm. If you were told to play it safe, be realistic, or don't aim too high, that became the script your subconscious mind repeated to you every time you tried to step out of your comfort zone. And this is where the trap is set, because once the paradigm is programmed, your subconscious mind doesn't ask if you want to keep it. It just runs it on autopilot, over and over again. How your paradigm reinforces itself. Once a paradigm is in place, it seeks out confirmation. If you believe money is hard to get, you'll subconsciously avoid easy money. If you believe success requires suffering, you'll make things harder than they need to be. If you believe you're not one of those people who can be wealthy, fit, or fulfilled, you'll subtly reject opportunities that would prove otherwise. Why? Because your subconscious mind wants consistency between your beliefs and your reality. This is called cognitive consistency, and it's one of the reasons why change feels so hard. Your subconscious mind will actually create resistance when you try to break away from the paradigm, not because it wants to hurt you, but because it thinks it's protecting you. It's trying to preserve the familiar. Your paradigm is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. You didn't choose your original programming. You didn't get to decide who raised you, what school you went to, or what beliefs were forced into your mind before you could even speak. But once you become aware of the paradigm, you now have power. You can now say, "This is no longer mine. This belief does not serve me. This pattern is not my identity. It's just programming. And most importantly, I can choose again." You are not your past. You are not your parents. You are not your programming. You are the thinker of the thought, the creator of the command, the rewriter of the code. The beginning of liberation. When you understand that your results are not random, that they stem from mental patterns formed in childhood and reinforced by repetition, you gain something most people never experience: freedom. You stop blaming others. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop blaming yourself, and instead, you take the pen back. You decide what gets written in your subconscious from now on. You decide what's allowed to stay and what has to go. You become the programmer of your own paradigm, and that is the beginning of a truly transformed life. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the thermostat effect, how your paradigm determines the upper and lower limits of your results, and how to raise your internal setting so you no longer snap back to the old life. Your programming got you here. Your paradigm shift will take you far beyond. Chapter 3. The Thermostat Effect. Imagine for a moment that your life is controlled by an internal thermostat, not the one on the wall, but one wired into your subconscious mind. This thermostat doesn't control the temperature of your room. It controls the temperature of your results. It controls how much money you allow yourself to earn. It controls how much love and joy you allow yourself to feel. It controls how much success, energy, creativity, and freedom you believe you're allowed to experience. And just like the thermostat in your home, it has a preset limit, a comfort zone. Go above it, the system cools you down. Drop below it, it kicks in to warm you back up. The result? You stay stuck in a limited range, over and over again. This is the thermostat effect of your paradigm. Why you snap back to normal. Have you ever made a big breakthrough, landed a great job, closed a high-ticket client, started a new health routine, and for a brief moment, you felt powerful, confident, unstoppable? But then, you sabotaged it. You skipped the workouts. You procrastinated. You overspent the money. You picked a fight with someone who was finally treating you right. You didn't plan to do it. It just happened. That wasn't coincidence. That was your internal thermostat doing its job. You see, your subconscious paradigm is wired to maintain consistency with your self-image. When you begin operating outside of that internal identity, when your results rise above what your paradigm believes is normal, your subconscious steps in to bring you back to the comfort zone. And it does it with surgical precision. You forget your plan. You lose focus. You create chaos. You delay decisions. You say, maybe I'm not ready. It doesn't feel like sabotage, but it is. And it's all being done to bring your life back to the internal temperature you've accepted. The programming behind the temperature. So, where does this temperature come from? It's built on your self-image, your emotional memory, your past results, and your inherited beliefs. If your family always struggled with money, your thermostat might be set to just enough to survive. If you were told you weren't good at relationships, your thermostat might be set to lonely but safe. If your identity is built around struggle, effort, and grinding through life, then ease and abundance will feel wrong, even if you crave them. In other words, you won't rise higher than your paradigm allows, and even if you do, you won't stay there until you raise your internal setting, the highs and lows of the comfort zone. This thermostat doesn't just pull you down when things go too well, it also kicks in when things get too bad. If your paradigm says, I'm not the kind of person who's broke, and your finances take a hit, you'll snap back into action. You'll hustle. You'll find a way to rebound. If your self-image is strong and your relationship starts crumbling, you'll fight for it. You'll read, learn, grow, adapt. But here's the catch. You're still just maintaining the preset range. You're still living within the boundary of your programming. So even when you rebound, you're not growing. You're surviving. Real change, real transformation, comes when you raise the entire setting, not just bounce around inside it. Raising the thermostat, a paradigm upgrade. So, how do you raise the internal setting? The same way it was set in the first place, through repetition, emotion, and identity. You must begin to see yourself differently, create a new mental image of who you are. Feel the emotions of that new self, as if it's real now. Act in alignment, even before the results show up. This is how you install a new setting. You begin to expect more. You begin to speak differently. You surround yourself with people, books, and experiences that reflect the new identity you're creating. You condition your nervous system to normalize what used to feel too good to be true. Because once it becomes familiar to your subconscious, it stops rejecting it. That's when success begins to feel natural. That's when wealth no longer feels like a fluke. That's when love, health, creativity, and peace become your baseline, not your high point. You're not just temporarily changing. You've shifted the entire program. Your life expands with your internal setting. Most people don't need more motivation. They don't need another morning routine or productivity hack. What they need is to raise their paradigm's thermostat, to raise what they believe is possible, reasonable, and normal for them. Because your outer world can't outgrow your inner setting. You can only attract, accept, and hold what your paradigm is wired to receive. So ask yourself, what is my current financial thermostat? What is my love and connection thermostat? What is my confidence and creativity thermostat? And more importantly, am I willing to raise it? In the next chapter, we'll talk about the cycle of self-sabotage, how paradigms trap you in familiar failures, and how to break those emotional loops before they reset your results. Remember, your thermostat is not your destiny. It's just a setting, and you hold the power to turn it up. Chapter 4. Breaking the cycle of self-sabotage. There's a strange moment in life, one that most people don't talk about. It's when things are finally going well, and instead of feeling safe or successful, you start to feel uncomfortable. You second-guess yourself. You pull back. You procrastinate. You make a mistake that costs you time, money, or progress. You don't know why. You just know that somehow you're undoing the very thing you worked so hard to build. This is self-sabotage, the invisible wall between your current reality and your highest potential. And it's not personal weakness. It's not a lack of willpower. It's a direct result of your paradigm protecting itself. Why self-sabotage happens. Your paradigm is designed to keep you safe, but safe doesn't mean happy, and it certainly doesn't mean successful. To the subconscious mind, safe means familiar, predictable, comfortable. So when you begin to experience more wealth, deeper love, greater peace, or higher levels of joy, the paradigm goes on alert. It senses a deviation from the old identity, and it panics. It starts sending out internal messages like, "This is too good to be true. You're going to lose this anyway. People like you don't get things like this. Better not mess it up." Those thoughts aren't random. They're programmed. And if you don't catch them, you'll obey them. Not consciously, not intentionally, but through subtle, repeatable behaviors that slowly bring you back to your previous level. The emotional loop of self-sabotage. Self-sabotage isn't just one action, it's a cycle. Here's how it often unfolds. You make progress. You get closer to your goal, feel inspired, and gain momentum. You feel unfamiliar. The new results trigger discomfort in your nervous system. The paradigm resists. Doubts, fears, and negative thoughts start to surface. You act out of fear. You delay, retreat, argue, spend, or disconnect. You get set back. Things fall apart or stagnate, justifying your old belief. You reinforce the old pattern. You feel relief because you're back in familiar territory, even if it's not where you want to be. And the worst part? Each time this happens, it reinforces the subconscious belief that success isn't sustainable, that progress leads to pain, and that you're better off staying in your lane. This is how paradigms protect themselves. How the paradigm masks itself. Self-sabotage wears many disguises. Sometimes it looks like perfectionism, never launching, never finishing, always editing. Sometimes it looks like overwhelm, filling your plate with busy work instead of aligned action. Sometimes it looks like conflict, arguing with loved ones right when things start going well. Sometimes it even looks like just being realistic, talking yourself down from your big idea before you give it a chance. But behind all of these masks is the same root cause, a belief that you are not ready, not worthy, or not safe to grow. It's not the external challenge that's blocking you. It's the internal script. Bringing sabotage into the light. The most powerful way to break the cycle is to shine a light on it. Become the observer of your behavior. Ask yourself, when do I start to pull back? What stories pop up when I begin to succeed? Where do I start to overthink, delay, or disconnect? And most importantly, what fear is hiding underneath this pattern? You may find it's fear of rejection, fear of being seen, fear of failure, or even fear of success. You might discover that deep down, you're afraid of what life will demand of you if you really step into your power. Or you fear that if you rise, you'll lose love, comfort, or connection. These are all programmed beliefs, and they can be reprogrammed. But they must be faced with honesty, compassion, and courage. Tools to disarm the pattern. Here are a few simple but powerful tools to begin disarming the self-sabotage cycle. 1. The pattern interrupt. As soon as you notice yourself falling into the old habit, stop. Take a deep breath. Say out loud, "That's the old program. I choose differently now." Awareness creates space. Space creates choice. 2. Future pacing. Visualize the successful version of you handling this moment. How do they respond to fear? How do they speak to themselves? Align with that energy. 3. Micro wins. Instead of trying to make a giant leap, commit to a small action that aligns with the new paradigm, one that proves to your subconscious that growth is safe. 4. Emotional regulation. Use meditation, breathwork, or movement to soothe the nervous system when the discomfort of success shows up. Remind your body, "We're okay now." Stepping through the threshold. The reason most people never achieve lasting change is because they hit the threshold, the emotional breaking point between the old self and the new, and they retreat. But that threshold is not a sign to turn back. It's a sign that the shift is near. Because just beyond the discomfort is the breakthrough. Just beyond the fear is the freedom. You were never afraid of success. You were afraid of what your old paradigm told you success would cost. But now you know better. You're not bound to those stories. You're not trapped by those patterns. You are the only one who can break the loop and rewrite the code. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of awareness, the foundational skill that allows you to separate yourself from the old paradigm and take conscious control of your future. Self-sabotage thrives in the dark, but in the light of awareness, it loses all its power. Let's turn on the lights. Chapter 5. The Power of Awareness. Change always begins with awareness. It is the doorway through which all transformation enters. Without awareness, you're trapped, not by your circumstances, but by your conditioning. Awareness is the flashlight that reveals the program. It is the shift in consciousness that allows you to say, "This is not who I am. This is who I've been trained to be." When you become aware, the game changes, because now you are no longer the program. You are the one observing it. and the observer holds the power. Why awareness is step 1. You can't change what you don't see. You can't reprogram what you don't recognize. Most people try to change their results, their income, their weight, their relationships, without ever looking at the source. They try harder, work more, sacrifice sleep, grind every day. But effort without awareness is like rowing a boat in the wrong direction. You can paddle all day, but you are still going nowhere. Awareness redirects the boat. It says, why do I always spend money when I'm stressed? Why do I shrink when I should speak up? Why do I talk myself out of opportunities before I even try? That moment of questioning, that's the beginning of awakening. The paradigm is automatic until it's observed. Your paradigm has one job: automation. It runs your beliefs, your self-image, your reactions, all below the level of consciousness. And that's useful. You don't want to consciously decide how to walk, breathe, or brush your teeth. But when your paradigm is filled with limiting beliefs, that automation becomes a prison, until you observe it. Because here's the truth: the moment you bring conscious attention to a subconscious pattern, it can no longer operate in the same way. It starts to lose power. It starts to weaken. It starts to fall apart. Not because it's destroyed, but because it's been seen. Becoming the observer. Becoming aware is not about judgment. It's not about blaming yourself for your past, your habits, or your programming. It's about watching. Start paying attention to your emotional reactions, your internal dialogue, your default responses, your daily routines, your body language when faced with opportunity or challenge. Ask, what emotion is driving this? Whose voice is in my head right now? Mine or someone else's? Is this thought helping me grow or keeping me small? This level of observation turns your life into feedback. It allows you to see your results as data, not as a definition of your worth. That's where power begins. Awareness dissolves repetition. The more you observe a limiting pattern, the harder it becomes to repeat it blindly. Let's say your old paradigm causes you to say, "I can't afford that," every time you see something you desire. With awareness, you catch it. You pause. You ask, is that true, or is that just a habit? You realize, it's not fact, it's conditioning. And now, even if you say it again, you're aware of it. Eventually, the thought loses power. You begin to choose new thoughts. I can't afford it, yet. How can I afford this? What would the abundant version of me do? This is reprogramming in real time, and it all begins with awareness. Awareness is a practice, not a switch. This isn't something you do once. You don't wake up enlightened and free of your old patterns after one good meditation or journal session. Awareness is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows through use. Here are 3 simple practices to build it. 1. The awareness journal. Each night ask, what pattern showed up today? Did I act from the old paradigm or the new one? What triggered me? And what does that trigger teach me? 2. The body scan. Throughout the day, pause and feel into your body. Where is there tension, resistance, numbness? The body often reveals the subconscious before the mind does. 3. Mindful interrupts. Set a few alarms during your day to stop, breathe, and observe. Ask, what am I feeling? What am I believing right now? These moments may seem small, but they compound. Over time, they create a version of you that is awake, not reactive, responsive, not robotic. Free, not conditioned. Awareness creates choice. Before awareness, you have no choice, only reaction. After awareness, you have power. You can now choose to pause instead of panic, to ask instead of assume, to act from your vision, not your history. That's the difference between living by default and living by design. Awareness is the light that shines through the cracks in your paradigm. It reveals the truth. You are not your programming. You are not your past. You are not your patterns. You are the one who sees them. And the one who sees can change everything. In the next chapter, we'll take the next step, reprogramming the subconscious using powerful, proven tools to create a new belief system that aligns with the life you truly want. Because awareness without action is observation. But awareness followed by intentional reprogramming, that's transformation. Chapter 6. Rewriting the script. Now that you've become aware of your paradigm, it's time to do something truly powerful. Rewrite it. This is the point where most people hesitate, because they believe change is hard. They've been told it takes years of therapy, painful breakdowns, or mystical breakthroughs to rewrite their inner world. But here's the truth. The subconscious mind learns through the same methods it was programmed with: repetition, emotion, and imagery. If the old script was written through repeated limitation, the new script must be written through repeated liberation. This chapter is about how to do exactly that. Why rewriting works. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds are planted, watered, and nurtured will grow. The old paradigm was planted when you were young, and it grew through repetition. You heard the same messages over and over. You're not good enough. Money is hard to get. People like us don't succeed. You have to settle. And so those beliefs grew into habits. Those habits became your identity, and your identity shaped your life. But here's the secret most people never realize. You can plant new seeds, and the subconscious mind will accept them the same way it accepted the old ones. If you use the same tools, repetition, emotion, and imagination, you can begin to install a new paradigm. One that supports your goals, one that aligns with your vision, one that makes success feel natural, not forced. Repetition, the mind's favorite language. Let's start with repetition. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to logic. It responds to frequency. Tell yourself, "I am wealthy," once, and nothing changes. Tell yourself, "I am wealthy," with emotion, every day, multiple times a day, and the mind begins to believe it. Because it doesn't care if it's true. It only cares if it's familiar. So the key to rewriting is to flood your mind with the new belief until it becomes more normal than the old one. Affirmations, recorded audio, mirror work, and writing your new story are all powerful tools to deliver the new script consistently. Don't worry if it feels fake at first. It's supposed to. Your old beliefs felt fake the first time too, but they became real through repetition. So keep going. Emotion, the accelerant of change. While repetition creates familiarity, emotion gives it power. When you emotionally charge a thought, it goes deeper. It sticks. That's why trauma imprints so strongly. But it's also why visualization with feeling is one of the fastest ways to rewire the subconscious. Don't just say, "I am confident." Feel it in your body. Speak it with power. Walk like someone who believes it. The more you feel it, the more your nervous system begins to accept it. This is why you must bring energy to your rewiring. Don't mumble your affirmations like a robot. Say them with belief, or fake the belief until it catches up. When you combine repetition with emotion, you create a new neural pathway, a mental groove that grows stronger every day. Imagination, the mind's reality. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. That's why you can wake up from a dream sweating and panicked, even though nothing actually happened. So when you visualize yourself succeeding, leading, growing, creating, earning, loving, with intensity and clarity, your subconscious accepts it as reality. And once it accepts it, it starts looking for ways to make it happen. You begin to notice opportunities you once ignored. You start to behave differently without forcing it. You align with the reality you imagined, and soon, that imagined reality becomes your actual life. This is not fantasy. This is neurological fact. Elite athletes, CEOs, and visionaries have used visualization for decades, not just to dream, but to train their brains to expect success. You must do the same. See it, feel it, repeat it. How to build your new script. Here's a step-by-step process you can follow every day to rewrite your paradigm. 1. Identify the old belief. Start with what's not working. What limiting thought keeps showing up? Write it down. Example: I never have enough money. 2. Create the opposite truth. Flip the belief to its empowered opposite. Example: money flows to me easily and consistently. 3. Engage repetition. Say it out loud. Write it 10 times. Record it in your voice and listen while you walk, drive, or rest. 4. Add emotion. Speak it with confidence. Use movement. Smile while you say it. Feel the energy of the belief being real. 5. Visualize it. Close your eyes. See yourself living as this version of you. What are you doing? Who are you with? How does it feel? 6. Take aligned action. Do something, even small, that aligns with the new belief. Action locks the new script into your nervous system. Repeat daily, without exception. Make the new script your default. At first, this will feel like acting, but eventually, it becomes your truth. That's how all programming works. You learn it, you live it, you become it. And once your new belief is installed, you'll start behaving in harmony with it. Not by force, but by automatic response. You'll make decisions differently, speak with more confidence, attract new relationships, set different boundaries, take bolder action, and see results that used to feel impossible. Show up with ease, because you're not just working harder, you're working from a different identity. That's the power of reprogramming. In the next chapter, we'll take this even deeper by exploring how to act in harmony with your new paradigm and why action is the bridge between internal belief and external reality. Because your mind may be the builder, but your actions lay the bricks. Let's build. Chapter 7. Acting in harmony with the new you. Now that you've begun to reprogram your beliefs, a crucial question arises. Are your actions matching the new identity? Because until your behavior aligns with the new paradigm, the old one will keep pulling you back. This is where transformation either solidifies or slips away. This is the bridge between thought and reality. It's where the inner work becomes outer evidence. So ask yourself right now, am I acting like the person I say I want to become? That question is a mirror, and the reflection can change your life. The law of alignment. Everything in your life is a reflection of what you're in harmony with. You may believe in abundance, but if your actions are rooted in scarcity, hoarding money, avoiding opportunities, playing it small, then scarcity is what will persist. You may affirm confidence, but if you avoid difficult conversations or shrink around others, the subconscious sees those behaviors and reinforces the old script. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. Your subconscious mind watches what you do far more than what you say. If your actions contradict your affirmations, your nervous system will default to what feels real, and real is determined by behavior. The gap between knowing and being. Many people stay stuck in personal development for years, consuming information, repeating mantras, attending workshops, yet never truly change. Why? Because they're learning new ideas, but still acting from the old paradigm. They read about wealth, but still feel guilty spending money. They learn about leadership, but still avoid taking initiative. They say they want freedom, but stay trapped in routines that feel safe but unfulfilling. There's a gap between who they know they could be and how they actually live. That gap is closed with one thing: aligned action. You don't need more information. You need integration. Behavior reinforces belief. Here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to fully believe it before you act on it. But when you act on it, belief begins to take root. It works both ways. Yes, beliefs create behaviors, but behaviors also solidify beliefs. This is why acting as if is so powerful. When you act like the version of you who already has the confidence, the wealth, the love, the peace, your subconscious mind begins to accept that identity as real. Because it sees the evidence. You become what you rehearse. The daily test of integrity. Every day you are tested, not by life, but by your alignment. When you say, "I am abundant," but you choose fear over investment, that's a test. When you say, "I'm confident," but you avoid speaking your truth, that's a test. When you say, "I value peace," but keep saying yes when you mean no, that's a test. And each time you choose the old behavior, the old paradigm strengthens. Each time you choose the new behavior, the new paradigm roots deeper. This is how paradigms are either reclaimed or rewired, in the micro moments. The seemingly small decisions that either reinforce the past or construct your future. How to act in alignment, even when it's hard. Here are 5 practical steps to help you begin behaving like your new identity. 1. Identify the you 2.0 version. Write down how this next-level version of you behaves. How do they dress, speak, spend, think, move? Get clear. Be detailed. 2. Practice micro decisions. Start small. You don't need to make massive moves overnight. But you can say no to gossip. You can speak up in a meeting. You can choose water over wine. You can invest $10 instead of spending it. 3. Ask, what would the new me do? Before every decision, pause and ask this question. Let it become your compass. 4. Don't wait for permission. Stop waiting to feel ready. Act as if you are. You grow into the next version of yourself by behaving like them, not by waiting to become them first. 5. Track evidence. Every day, track moments where you acted in alignment. This proves to your subconscious mind that the new identity is already being lived. Your identity lives in action. At some point, you have to stop saying, "I'm working on it," and start being it. Your identity doesn't live in your journal. It lives in your behavior. Each aligned action is like casting a vote for the person you're becoming. And the more votes you cast, the harder it is to deny that you've changed. And soon, you're no longer acting like the new you. You are the new you. In the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when the old paradigm pushes back, because it will. Resistance, fear, and emotional sabotage will try to pull you off course. But now you'll be ready, because you're not just aware. You're aligned. And the aligned mind is an unstoppable force. Let's keep going. Chapter 8. Resistance, Fear, and the Final Test. You're doing the work. You're becoming more aware. You're repeating new beliefs. You're taking aligned action. And then it happens. Out of nowhere, something throws you off course. A breakdown, a loss, a wave of fear, a trigger you didn't see coming. Your momentum falters. Doubt creeps in. You question if you've made any real progress. This moment, this emotional storm, is what we call the final test. It's not a punishment. It's not a sign you've failed. It's the old paradigm making one last attempt to survive. And how you respond here determines everything. Why resistance shows up right before the breakthrough. Your subconscious mind is wired to protect you from the unknown, even if the unknown is your dream life. So when you begin to rewire your paradigm, the subconscious doesn't just say, "Cool, let's go." It says, "Wait, this is unfamiliar. This is risky. This is dangerous." And it fights back, not with fists, but with fear, with overthinking, with procrastination, with conflict, with fatigue, with self-doubt. This is not a step backward. This is the threshold, the emotional wall you must walk through to reach the other side of your transformation. The 5 faces of resistance. Let's identify some of the most common ways resistance shows up. 1. Fear of success. As strange as it sounds, success often scares people more than failure. Why? Because success brings visibility, responsibility, and change. Your subconscious might ask, what if I can't maintain it? What if people expect more from me? What if I outgrow people I care about? 2. Sudden crisis or chaos. Right when you start making progress, something breaks. A financial emergency, a breakup, a health scare. This doesn't mean you attracted it, but it is a call to stay grounded. The old paradigm is testing your commitment. 3. Emotional overwhelm. You feel off, emotional, tired, confused. These are detox symptoms of an identity in transition. Don't resist them. Feel them. Let them pass. 4. Sabotage. Disguised as logic. Thoughts like, maybe I'm moving too fast. This doesn't feel realistic. I should wait until the timing is better. These aren't wisdom. They're fear, dressed as maturity. 5. External opinions. People question your choices. They don't understand the new you. They reflect your old identity back at you. And suddenly, you doubt yourself. Remember, their resistance is often a mirror of their own fear of growth. How to stay grounded when resistance hits. Here are tools you can use when the wave of resistance comes. 1. Breathe. Don't break. Use your breath to regulate your nervous system. Slow, deep breathing tells your body, we're safe. This interrupts the fight-or-flight response triggered by fear. 2. Name the pattern. Say it out loud. This is resistance. This is the old paradigm trying to stay alive. Naming it gives you power over it. 3. Anchor to your why. Go back to your original vision. Why did you start this journey? Reconnect with the version of you on the other side and feel what they feel. 4. Don't dramatize the dip. A setback isn't a sign to stop. It's just a dip, a part of the journey. Don't give it meaning. Don't spiral. Just keep moving forward. 5. Keep taking aligned action. The fastest way to dissolve fear is to act anyway. Small, intentional steps remind your subconscious, we're doing this. It's safe. We're okay. Why the final test is a gift. It feels like chaos, but it's actually clarity in disguise. The final test reveals what you still fear, where you still doubt yourself, what parts of the old identity haven't fully dissolved. It gives you a chance to face those shadows and choose again. Every great shift has a point of resistance. It's the threshold that separates those who wish for change from those who live it. You must prove to the old self that you no longer belong to it. That's why the resistance shows up right before the breakthrough. Because it's not testing your strength, it's revealing it. The doorway through resistance. Here's what you need to remember. You're not broken. You're not going backward. You're being called forward, through fear, not around it. Walk through. Feel the fear. Take the step anyway. Feel the confusion. Hold your vision anyway. Feel the doubt. Act anyway. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It's the choice to move in spite of it. And when you do, something profound happens. The fear dissolves. The resistance fades. And you rise into a reality that once lived only in your imagination. Because now, you believe it. And more importantly, you embody it. In the next chapter, we'll explore real-world paradigm shifts. Stories of people just like you who rewired their inner world and transformed their results. Because sometimes, the best way to believe it's possible is to see that it already is. Let's meet them. Chapter 9, Real-World Paradigm Shifts. It's one thing to understand paradigm shift in theory. It's another to see it come alive in real people's lives. Because when you witness someone completely change the trajectory of their future, not by changing their environment first, but by changing their mindset, something powerful clicks inside you. It shows you that this work isn't just possible, it's proven. This chapter is a collection of real-world transformations, individuals from all walks of life who faced deep limitations, rewired their inner world, and stepped into extraordinary growth. Let their stories remind you, if they can shift their paradigm, so can you. The broke salesman who became a millionaire. Dustin was a door-to-door salesman. He worked harder than anyone in the office, made more calls, knocked on more doors, but his paycheck never reflected his effort. He believed in hustle. He believed in strategy. But deep down, he also believed, I'm just not the kind of guy who makes big money. That single belief, buried in his subconscious, was setting the thermostat on his income. No matter how hard he worked, the paradigm capped his results. Then, one day, he heard a speaker explain, "You will never earn more than you believe you're worth." That line hit him like lightning. He realized that even though he wanted success, he had never seen himself as wealthy. He thought wealth was for other people, smarter people, lucky people, born into it people. That day, Dustin committed to changing the image in his mind. He started writing, "I earn $250,000 a year" on note cards. He meditated each morning on the version of him who already had that income. He practiced walking, talking, dressing, and thinking like that version. And within 2 years, Not only did he cross 6 figures, he started his own sales agency, multiplied his income, and began teaching others how to sell with self-image in mind. The strategy hadn't changed. The economy hadn't changed. He changed. That was the real shift. The abused woman who found her voice and purpose. Maria had lived in silence for years. She grew up in a household where she was told, "Keep your head down. Don't speak unless spoken to." Later, she found herself in an emotionally abusive marriage. Her confidence eroded. Her voice was buried. She believed her thoughts didn't matter, that her role was to support others, never to shine. Then one night, after a panic attack, she sat alone and asked herself a question she'd never dared to ask. What if I'm not broken? What if I've just been programmed to believe I am? That question changed everything. Maria began journaling. She wrote letters to herself, the younger version, the hurt version, the powerful version. She joined a support group for women, and for the first time, shared her truth out loud. Every week, her voice got stronger, her self-image clearer, her purpose louder. Today, Maria runs a nonprofit that helps women in abusive relationships rebuild their confidence, identity, and financial independence. She now speaks on stages, the same woman who once couldn't look herself in the mirror. She didn't find her voice, she reclaimed it, because her paradigm didn't define her, it just needed to be rewritten. The sick man who healed by changing his mind. Carlos was 48 years old when doctors told him he had 6 months to live. He had advanced cancer. His prognosis was grim, and the pain was unbearable. But what hurt more was the identity he had adopted. I'm a sick person. One night, lying in bed, Carlos heard a podcast about the subconscious mind. The speaker said, "Your body responds to your dominant thoughts. Speak to your cells like they're listening." That night, Carlos decided, "I will not die rehearsing disease in my mind." He began visualizing his body healing. He spoke out loud to his cells every morning. "You are healthy. You are powerful. You are whole." He combined this with changes in diet, rest, and energy work. Every day, he visualized the doctors looking confused as they told him his cancer was gone. He reprogrammed his identity, not from "I have cancer" to "I'm trying to fight," but to "I am a healing machine." 6 months later, his scans shocked the hospital staff. The tumor had shrunk by more than 80%. Within a year, he was in full remission. Now, Carlos travels and teaches others about healing through mindset and belief. His story isn't magic. It's paradigm shift applied to the body. He didn't just heal physically. He healed his inner story, and his body followed. What these stories reveal. None of these people had superpowers. They didn't have perfect upbringings. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't change because life handed them an opportunity. They changed because they rewired the lens through which they saw themselves. They interrupted the old pattern. They installed a new belief. They acted in harmony with that belief, even when it was scary. And they did it long enough for reality to catch up. This is how every paradigm shift works. Not overnight, not by luck, but by consistency, faith, and aligned behavior. Your story is still being written. Right now, you're not just listening to this chapter. You're adding your name to this list, because your story of transformation is already unfolding. Maybe you're David, realizing your income ceiling is mental, not external. Maybe you're Maria, beginning to reclaim your voice. Maybe you're Carlos, choosing to believe your body is powerful beyond what you were told. Whoever you are, whatever you've faced. The next chapter of your life is not determined by your past. It's shaped by your paradigm. And now that you know this, it's yours to rewrite. In the final chapter, we'll explore how to lock in your new paradigm, how to make this shift last so it becomes your new normal, not just a motivational moment. Because transformation is just the beginning. Mastery is what comes next. Chapter 10. Locking in the shift. You've awakened. You've reprogrammed. You've acted. You've faced resistance. You've stepped into a new identity. But the journey isn't complete until the shift is sustained. Because no matter how powerful your breakthrough, the real transformation happens when the new you becomes the only you. This chapter is about securing the shift, making your new paradigm so deeply ingrained that the old one has no room to return. It's about moving from breakthrough to permanence. Why people slip back. Have you ever felt on fire with change, only to drift back into old habits weeks or months later? This happens when the new paradigm was introduced, but not yet anchored. Here's why people slip back. They stop doing what worked once it feels better. They return to old environments that reinforce the past. They don't upgrade their identity to match their new results. They treat the shift like a one-time event instead of a way of life. The truth is, every new level of life requires a new level of maintenance. And that's not a burden, it's a privilege. Because maintenance means mastery. How to lock in your new paradigm. To make your shift permanent, you need to build reinforcing systems, habits, environments, and relationships that support your new identity. Let's break it down. 1. Reinforce with repetition. The subconscious mind loves consistency. Even after the initial transformation, keep using the tools that got you there. Daily affirmations, visualization, future journaling, emotional rehearsals, listening to your own reprogramming recordings. Think of these like brushing your teeth. You don't stop brushing just because your teeth are clean. You keep brushing to stay healthy. Repetition doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're building resilience. 2. Anchor your identity in action. What would the future version of you do today? That question is the key to long-term change. Don't just remember your new identity. Live it. Each time you act like the person you've become, you lock in the shift. Make decisions from the new self. Spend like them. Speak like them. Walk, breathe, and behave like the upgraded version, until there's no difference between acting and being. 3. Surround yourself with alignment. Your environment has immense power to pull you forward, or drag you back. If you've shifted your paradigm, but stay surrounded by people who speak the language of fear, doubt, and limitation, your subconscious mind will struggle to hold the new pattern. Curate your world. Podcasts and audiobooks that reflect your new beliefs. Friendships that inspire growth and honesty. Mentors, coaches, or groups that challenge you to expand. Visual reminders around your home of the new standard you've set. You can't change your life and expect to keep your surroundings the same. Environment must evolve with identity. 4. Measure progress by inner state. Most people measure change by external results: money, weight, success, status. But real paradigm shift is measured by emotional stability and self-trust. Ask yourself, how quickly do I bounce back from fear? How often do I default to love instead of doubt? How comfortable am I with the unknown? These are the signs that your new paradigm is taking root, not the number in your bank account, but the frequency of your mind. When peace becomes your baseline, you've won. 5. Expect and embrace retests. Life will present challenges, not to knock you down, but to confirm what you've learned. A financial delay, a difficult conversation, an old temptation. These are not setbacks. They are checkpoints, opportunities to prove to your subconscious that the shift is real. Don't fear the retest. Pass it. Smile when you recognize the pattern you used to fall for, and choose differently. That's confirmation that the paradigm has been overwritten. 6. Make it who you are. The ultimate lock-in is when you stop trying to be the new you, and you simply are. This happens when you speak the new belief without hesitation. You no longer justify your growth, you just live it. People say, "You're different," and you smile because you are. You no longer need external validation, because internal truth is enough. At this point, the shift is no longer something you're doing. It's who you are. This is what Bob Proctor meant when he said, "You don't get what you want. You get who you are." From shift to standard. When your new paradigm becomes your standard, not your goal, not your dream, but your normal, everything changes. You'll attract different people. You'll repel old patterns. You'll wake up with clarity. You'll walk with confidence. You'll look at life and say, "Of course I'm here. This is what I expected." And that's the greatest gift of this journey. You don't just shift your mind. You shift your reality. You're not chasing the life you want anymore. You're living it. In the final conclusion, we'll bring this all together and offer a powerful reminder about your role as the programmer of your life, your story, and your results. The paradigm has shifted. Let's close it with power. Conclusion. You are the programmer now. You've made the shift, not just in theory, but in awareness. Not just in language, but in identity. Not just in intention, but in alignment. You've learned that your life was never held back by lack of opportunity, but by a subconscious program you didn't know was running. That program had rules. Play it safe. Don't ask for too much. Success is for other people. You're not enough. But those rules were never yours. They were downloaded, inherited, rehearsed, and most importantly, they were never permanent. Throughout this audiobook, you've gone on a journey. You became aware of the invisible blueprint shaping your life. You understood how it was formed through repetition and emotion. You confronted the thermostat effect that kept you stuck in cycles. You uncovered the sabotage patterns that once kept you small. You practiced the tools to reprogram your subconscious, intentionally. You learned to act like the future version of you now. You faced resistance and chose courage anyway. You witnessed real-world transformations that mirror what's possible for you. You discovered how to lock in the shift and make the new you the only you. And now, one truth remains. You are the programmer now. You are no longer the victim of your paradigm. You are the architect, the designer, the coder, the narrator, the creator. The old patterns may whisper, but they no longer control you. The old beliefs may echo, but you no longer obey them. Because you now have the most powerful tool any human can possess. Conscious awareness, backed by intentional action. You know how to observe your thoughts. You know how to challenge your beliefs. You know how to create alignment between your identity and your behavior. And you know that you, not your past, not your parents, not your circumstances, decide how this story ends. The work doesn't end. It deepens. This shift isn't a one-time event. It's a new way of being. Every day is an opportunity to reinforce the paradigm you've chosen. through what you focus on, through what you say, through how you act, through what you expect, you'll continue to evolve. The paradigm will shift again and again as you rise into greater awareness, impact, and fulfillment. There's no ceiling here, only the next level. A final word of power. You are worthy of the life you imagine. You are capable of more than you've ever been told. You are not here to shrink. You are here to expand, to shine, to prosper, to rise. This is your permission. This is your declaration. This is your new beginning. The shift has happened. Now walk in it. Repeat after me. I am no longer who I was. I am who I choose to become. I reprogram my mind with intention. I build my life with purpose. The paradigm has shifted, and so have I. Thank you for listening to The Paradigm Shift, reprogramming the subconscious mind for success. This is not the end. This is your emergence. Now go live what you know.